Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jamie Parrott, Vice President and Chief Operating Officer at MedResults Network, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our third educational webinar presentation of 2019. Today we have a large audience, so I'm delighted to welcome everyone, both MedResults Network members and our non-members who are with us today. And for those of you who are not members of MedResults Network, and there are a few of you, I'd like to give you just a 30-second background on who we are and why you're here today. MedResults is a buying group or GPO, group purchasing organization, that has over 3,100 member practices across the nation. And we have over 50 vendor partners that are leading industry manufacturers and vendors. We cater primarily to the aesthetic industry, which would include plastic surgeons, dermatologists, medical spas, and of course, any other medical profession that offers aesthetic or cosmetic treatments. And essentially, we offer free membership to our customers and benefits from our partners that are typically better than what they could receive as individuals. So just like any other GPO, our members continue to purchase directly from our vendor partners, but they receive our benefits to help them reduce costs for the products and services that they use most frequently. And as a network of thousands of products and services, we feel that it's critical to educate our members about the industry, including new innovations and technologies, also best business practices, and just about anything else that will help them become better clinicians or aesthetic medical business managers, which is why we offer free education like our presentation today. So if you'd like more information about what we do or how to join MedResults, please don't hesitate to contact me after the presentation. We're always welcoming new members on a daily and weekly basis, and we'd love to have you join. While many of our educational webinar presentations are clinical in nature, as I said above or before, we'd love to have a good mix of business presentations, clinical trainings, and management topics so that we can provide you with a well-rounded mix of education. And today we'll be hosting an in-depth business presentation with a focus on how to motivate your staff and produce the best customer experience possible. Recently, we became privy to a statistic that actually stuck with me and, of course, is the basis for our presentation today. We learned that 80% of patients return to a practice because of the customer service experience. That's 80%. So that's 4 out of every 5 patients that walk through your door. And with this fact in mind, we asked ourselves, why would a practice jeopardize some business by providing less than perfect service? And we couldn't figure it out. So to shed some light on this topic and to give you some phenomenal tips on how you can provide the best experience for your patients, we've invited Stephen Handisides here with us today. Stephen is a veteran in the aesthetics, entertainment, and education industry. He is the founder of MyFaceMyBody, which is a global platform for education, training, and recognition. He is also the creator of GVAS. It's the first global virtual summit, which Stephen is actually going to share more about later in the presentation. And in addition to the MyFaceMyBody platform, he also developed a unique training platform called the Medical Business Academy, which our members have had access to since October last year. We're thrilled they have access to this unique platform. It is absolutely an incredible learning platform that contains a variety of information and services to not only enhance your business from a high-level perspective, but to also help you perfect every facet of your business from the first patient call all the way through to consult and conversion. Today, our hopes are for you to walk away from this seminar with the knowledge of how to maximize your business potential through the patient experience. We want you to understand the common challenges that aesthetic medical business owners face and why your staff might leave. We also want you to learn how to create a better company culture for your team, as well as the steps to implement effective systems and processes into your business. And this includes finding new ways to keep your staff educated and motivated. So before we begin, I want to let you all know that while we do not have a live Q&A, I certainly encourage you to ask questions of our presenter, and we will get to them at the close of the webinar. We also have the Director of Marketing for MBA, Adrienne Weaver. She's here to answer your questions live if you type them into the chat box. So don't forget to do that. If something pops into your head, we can answer it in real time. Adrienne will be here to do that. Or if you'd prefer to ask the question privately, you can always do so in our short survey, which pops up automatically after the presentation closes. And please remember to take that survey. It takes about 30 seconds to fill out. It provides us with valuable feedback that we can use in the future. So I'll keep my comments very short now. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Stephen Handisides of MyFaceMyBody.
Hi everyone. Usually that's when everyone gives you an applause to make you feel comfortable about starting this presentation. But because it's not live, I presume everyone's going crazy right now as I walk up onto the stage. So I'm delighted to be working with Jamie and the team at MedResults Network, and really excited to be able to share with you some of the insights that I've of years ago. It was really based on a lot of the insights and data that we get from our audit reports, our secret shopper reports that we do for practices all around the world, so they can benchmark themselves in terms of customer service. And that always links into our big global awards programs, which you might have heard of as MyFaceMyBody awards, which have been running for around 8 years. So let's get started. So it's all about how do you measure and implement a killer customer experience. Okay, so the journey I'm going to take you on today is how do we identify the current performance of your business? How do we maximize your business potential? So we're going to look at your customer experience journey at the moment, looking and focusing on the people in our business, the systems and processes that you've got set up, the education and ongoing training that you provide, that third-party suppliers will actually provide to you. And most importantly, how do we measure success? So all of this is great, but if we've got no measurements in place, then how do we know if we're improving? We can always look at the bottom line in terms of how much profit that we're making, but we want to look deeper into actually how do we prevent us from having a bad month or having losses, and really sort of focusing on the internal part of our practice. So identify, how are you measuring your success currently? So there's a number of different measurements that we can look at. I'm really going to focus on the customer service part, but just one example that has been very, very helpful. It's a very simple exercise for you to do back in the practice is, first of all, look at all the number of active customers, active patients that you have in your practice today. So when you get a chance, just look at how many active customers that you have. So write that down, then look at the average transaction value that you have running through your practice. Now that could just be an average, so it could maybe say $400 or $500. That could be on a, you may 80% certain laser treatment or a Botox treatment. So just write down that figure. You can actually do it per treatment, but let's just, for simplicity, just look at an average transaction value, and then look at the frequency of how many times a customer comes back in a given year. So if you had, say, 100 customers, active customers, you looked at a transaction value of, let's just say, $100, and the frequency is twice. So then what I would like you to do is then write down, if we could increase each of those figures by only 10%, which I know all of you could do, especially after this presentation, just increase those customers by 10%, increase the transaction value by 10%, and the frequency that they come back as well by 10%. What you'll realize is that when you times all those figures together, you'll actually get a 30% increase across the business. So we have some activity sheets that you can actually fill out with our members that have access to all these tools in the academy. The important thing to really sort of look at here is that when you're sitting down with your team, a lot of the time we see can stress their staff out by saying, this year, you know, with a lot of passion, we're going to increase our business by 30%. And a lot of the time, the reaction from the staff will be like, that's never going to happen. You know, that's too much of an increase. How are we going to do that? But what we've done with a lot of practices and their teams is actually break it down per customer, transaction value, and frequency. And that, by saying, increasing it by 10% in each of those different values is a lot more realistic for staff to actually take in. But then when you times it all together, it's actually an increase by 30%. So if you sort of understand where I'm going with that, I just wanted to briefly go, that's a really simple measurement that you can do back at the clinic today. So marketing, do you have any measurements currently in your practice? Because you can spend lots of money on marketing, which I know practices do, but unless you're actually measuring it, how do you know it's working? So what you'll see very shortly is in our audit, a simple measurement is when someone calls up is, how did you hear about us? A lot of, if I've got business owners listening there at the moment, is a lot of you will say, well, we do that. I tell our staff to do that. That's still 95% of the time through our external audits, practices still don't do it. So it needs to be monitored. But it's a fantastic way of just simply knowing where your leads are coming from. So do you know your customer journey and how to measure that? Now, what we've done is we've taken together 10 years of research and data and been able to map out a typical client customer journey for you in a typical aesthetic practice. So we're going to have a look at that. Financial reporting. Now, you might have a financial advisor, accountants, and this can get a little bit overwhelming and confusing, but it's fantastic if you can really understand some basic numbers. So looking at your conversion rates from someone answering the phone to booking, you know, the consultation to purchase, because these figures, if you understand them and your employees understand them, then it's an easier way to help actually look at the next month and be able to improve on those figures and look at if the practice is moving in the right direction in improving the profit of the business. Team meetings to review their staff and evaluate, you know, just three things that might have been frustrating for them the previous week, and 3 things that were really positive. And the whole team gets to share that once a week. It's usually an hour before the practice actually starts, and it's a great way to learn what is working in the practice and what are some of the things that customers are struggling with or they're frustrated with, and others of your team might be experiencing the same thing. So just a simple team meeting for an hour, just going around in a circle, asking about positive and also frustrating things that each team member has. So everyone can share that, and you can look at ways to proactively actually make positive changes in the business. Okay, so some of the interesting statistics we have found over the last 8 years within the audits that we have done for practices, and this, but these are taken from 1,000 audits from around the world. So 70% of practices lose 62% of their businesses internally. Practices lose 65% of leads because the initial call was not handled correctly. 73% of staff within the consultant did not recommend products with treatments. I'm sure I know a number of you relate to that, is encouraging your staff to really cross-promote your different services, your products, and the different treatment modalities. 90% of practices have no follow-up process after the client leaves the practice. For me, this is one of the biggest opportunities which we'll look at in the practice, but simple follow-up processes that you need to have in your practice that can make the world of difference in terms of clients coming back, happy clients, and making sure that you're really maximizing all that hard work that you've done in terms of marketing, spend, and consultation. And this is quite staggering, only 8% product knowledge level amongst staff. So this shows it's the training that suppliers come in and give your staff. It's just the volume of training that your staff have to do, and they're only taking in so much. And we've analyzed this and evaluated that only about 8% of that product knowledge is actually retained with your staff. Okay, so my biggest driver here is want you guys to take this message home as being results driven. And what I mean by that is, we want to look at spending less on advertising, understanding what marketing channels are performing the best, maximize your conversion rates, which we're going to look at, focus on treatment plans and outcomes. Now, I know a lot of practices still today, they're always focused on that one-off transaction, that one-off Botox treatment, that one-off laser treatment, but really forget to look at the lifetime value of a particular customer in your business. And I'm going to show you how you can measure that with a number of tools. Benchmarking, and this is not on price, but benchmarking yourself based on the customer service that other clinics offer in your local area. So if you can add value through improving the client journey, improving the customer service, and delivering that 5-star customer service experience that I will mention time and time again through this presentation, you'll be able to experience high client retention and word of mouth, which I know all of you are really sort of motivated by spending less on advertising and having more people speaking about their positive experiences in your business. So now I'm just going to take you through a typical secret shopper report that we currently do with practices and with our members. Now, this report is a 20-page, 250 observation report. So there's lots of different touch points within this, which we can always find areas where practices can improve in their business. And we've got some fantastic case studies of once an audit's done, the clinics just identify some simple changes in their business and really seeing the difference within the revenue and profit of the business. So this report here, so what you see currently is the section results of the typical touch points within the client journey of a typical aesthetic practice. So you'll relate to a lot of these touch points, but this is what you should have mapped out within your business. So everyone understands in the practice, all of the staff, that there are touch points that are important to make sure that there is focus and there are people that are responsible for making sure each of those touch points are delivered to the most highest level. So booking the consultation, this is the telephone inquiries, making sure that they're handled correctly and getting people in for a consultation. You'll see here that there's touch points when people walk into the practice, how they're greeted, the consultation, which as you know is key to really sort of talking to patients and prospects, clients about what they should be having based on their needs, product recommendations and retail displays. So really turning the business and focusing it on practices that are doing extremely well around the world have around 15 to 20% of their business focused on retail sales. Also, the departure, which I mentioned, which is the follow-up, and overall impressions, where we look at the emotional experience clients and patients have when they come into your business. So just looking at some of the touch points now within the first section, which is booking the consultation. So you can see here we've really broken down each section. Now you'll see it's based on a traffic light system. So there's green, orange, and red. So anywhere where it's below the global industry average, it will actually show up as orange or red. The green is really, really positive. So as you can see here, as you read down, there are lots of different factors that one will help with the touchy-feeliness, the good stuff that you should have in the practice to deliver that nice customer experience. But we've actually weighted the questions differently that so you can understand what impact it would actually have on your revenue going forward in the business. Now, the secret shopper report here, we have around 1,000 secret shoppers all around the world that are trained on our platform. And it's important that they are familiar with our platform because you can benchmark your figures and your data with clinics locally, nationally, and internationally. The secret shopper here, you'll see, also writes comments So for you to go in and evaluate with the staff the good things and also the things that haven't been so good that particular audit, and you can make positive changes in the business and move things forward. This is just an example of one audit and some comments that we have, so you can just have a little look in a bit more detail. So this secret shopper said, I made the first call at 6 p.m. on July 3rd and left a message asking for someone to call me back to book a consultation, but no one called me back. 1 week later, I called again during regular business hours and nobody answered, so I left another message. My call was returned the next day by Erica, who was very pleasant on the phone when making my booking. While getting my details to book me in, she mentioned the consultation was free of charge, but never think as far as a cancellation policy, nor didn't she ask me for a credit card to secure my booking. Now, I know a number of you might have different setups within the practice. We have a number of really good protocols from very, very successful practices from around the world, where you will see very shortly in the learning part of our platform really gives you some great role plays and some great protocols that you should have in your business that can help you be as profitable as possible. But you can see here are some of the comments. This is a really typical example. This is obviously looked at one real audit that we did with practice, but we see this time and time again. But unless you have some type of audit or secret shopper that comes in, we always recommend sort of twice a year. You won't know that these things are happening, and so you won't be able to make those changes in the business. Okay, so this is just a section taken from the consultation. You can have a little look. And again, you know, the practitioners, you know, we've done this with some really big name plastic surgeons, and they've really taken on board the positive feedback and have made changes themselves in terms of what they should be saying and what they should be doing in a consultation. The departure, which I said is one of the biggest opportunities within the practice. You spend all the money on marketing and getting them in. You have the consultation with them. Now, I know and I understand with some of the treatments that they'll have them there on the spot, but there's a number of different scenarios where patients will want to go away. They'll want to think about it. But as I said, about 92% of practices don't actually follow up the clients. And it's very staggering because you've spent all that time, you've spent all that money, but then there's no protocols or there's no processes in place to actually follow up that client. So just one nice little action that you can put into your practice next week is get one of your staff members, let them feel responsible for a follow-up. So what we've done with a number of our members, and it's worked extremely successfully, is that getting one of your staff members every morning, those prospects or those clients that have come into your business for a consultation but have gone away and thought about it, is you have one staff member that spends an hour each morning till all of those calls have been done from the previous week to follow up with patients and actually say, hey, Mrs. Jones, you know, you came in for a consultation about this treatment. Have you had any other thoughts about it? Do you have any other questions? Would you like to come in for the actual treatment with the particular practitioner? Something super simple like that, but I'm telling you, it actually does make the world of difference in terms of people coming back. Because as you know, you get very busy, and so does the patients and potential clients that have come in. They forget about it, or they might see some other advertising messages of one of your competitors. So we don't want that to happen. So just a simple process of having one of your staff just follow up every morning before the practice actually opens, is just following up with all of those clients from the week before. Super simple. The staff member feel that or they have responsibility, and if you can start to see results of those clients actually booking in, then, you know, reward that staff member for doing a great job. Okay, so What we also do with members is we have created a tool which is a business profit calculator. And as I know a number of you, it can be really confusing with all of these numbers. How do we actually measure things? How do we create the metrics? Where do they come from? So what we did was we created a really simple tool for you to actually use in the practice. Okay, so what this is here, this is the audit scores from your last audit. And as you can see, these are all the touch points which we looked at in that particular example of an audit. On the right-hand side here, this enables you to actually customize and actually put some of the numbers to make it a little bit more meaningful for your business. So here it says new customer per treatment protocol. So what you see here is this clinic has said on average we have 10 inquiries by phone or email, and they've used the example of a typical Botox patient. So they've chosen $250. They've actually said, well, they come back twice a year to have Botox, so they would put that number in. This figure here, as I mentioned to you, it's really important to understand the lifetime value of your clients. Most practices, and don't feel bad if you don't understand this number, but a number of our members, they always look at, well, I've spent this amount of money and only these amount of number of patients have come in. So we've looked at, well, they've come in for a $250 Botox transaction. But actually, if you really do look after your clients with good customer service, understand all the touch points within the deliver that client experience, then you will find that your clients will come back time and time again for the same service. And I know a number of you are probably nodding your heads back home now saying, well, we currently do that. So it's really just trying to understand, are you doing it? Can we measure it? Can we improve on what we're currently doing at the moment? So what we say here is just put a number in there. It could be 3 years or 5 years. Under here, this basically says, if we had a Botox patient, could we upsell them with skincare or a particular energy device, another treatment protocol? So it could be a hydrofacial treatment, or it could be, well, if we upsold them with $250 worth of skincare products and we think maybe they'll come back twice, could be 4, 6 times a year, what would actually be the value to our business? So a number of you are going, I would love my staff to actually recommend more skincare products or more treatments with a treatment that the client has come in for. Understand what's currently happening in your business. What will happen here is by just clicking the button, we have actually created formulas that enables you to actually see all of the calculations straight away. So what this is showing you is based on the audit report, based on the calculations you've put on, is if you had 100% success rate with your audit, these are the figures that you'd be looking at over a year in your practice in terms of a Botox patient with an upsell to skincare. Now, you're probably looking at those figures and going, well, I don't actually turn over that. Well, because the business obviously goes through numerous changes, staff changes, seasonality changes, you know that certain months are better than others. This current conversion actually looks at your last audit score and looks at what your current service levels are, compares it to the calculation figures, and it tells you these are the figures that you would be currently looking at in your business if you were operating at that service level. Now, what we want to show you here is the potential improvement in your business. If you actually improve and do some of the training with your staff and really look at what's happening internally in the business, a small change here can make the biggest difference in terms of your revenue potential. Most clinics will go, we need to spend more on advertising and marketing, but that's not the solution. We're working with over 600 members across the world. Now that they have these tools, just a small little change, the client's making 10-20% higher revenues over that 12 months. What the calculator also does do for you is it not only does it per year, but it will do it per month, per week, per day, and then it will also show you that 5-year value of those customers of yours. Okay, so we can go into more details at a later date at that, but just to show you that it's a really great tool for you to be able to use. Okay, what you want to be doing and what you want to really focus on, develop that memorable customer. And 80% of customers return to a practice because of good customer service. If you're looking to expand your practice, it's really important that you do have a roadmap of your customer experience so that you can duplicate that in different areas of your business. But if you're expanding into another location, that you can just replicate your roadmap when you expand with that other practice. So everyone understands the expectations you have to deliver that 5-star customer experience. Differentiate yourself through good customer experience. Don't do it by price. Be different, add value to your customers, and create a sellable business. If you have a great business that has high client retention, high word of mouth, because of the customer experience, not because of the physician or the plastic surgeon that's working there, then you have a sellable business. Common challenges business owners is usually face with their team is, and I'm sure a number of you will nod your head, is how to hire the right staff. How do we incentivize them? How do we keep our staff from not going to our competition? How do we motivate them? How do we train them? How do we make them sell? Now, I know we don't like the sell word, and in our training platform that we've created for your employees, we've got some fantastic techniques for them to be able. So why do staff leave? This is really interesting that, again, you should be aware of. 62% of staff leave a business because they don't feel appreciated. So that's like simple, just thank yous, or you've done a great job. 42% of staff leave because they are confused on what their job role is and what they're supposed to be reporting on. Now, I know I've been guilty in my business with this as well, is I think, we can oversaturate a staff member with too many tasks within the practice. And it may be because you're short-staffed, so you give too many jobs and roles and responsibilities for staff. So just be aware of what each staff member, what they're responsible for, and what you're rewarding them for as well. 32% leave because they don't feel that they have enough variety in their job. Simple solution to that, as I said to you, with getting one of your staff members to spend an hour a day just following up with clients to book them back in if they've come in for a consultation, or just ringing up clients that have been in saying, with your treatment. Make them feel responsible, make them feel satisfied with small tasks, or it could be, larger tasks. 69% of employees say they would work harder if they felt that their efforts were recognized. Again, maybe having that weekly team meeting, recognizing employees for the good things that they've done. As I mentioned to you, asking them about 3 positive things, maybe giving a little award away once a week to say, this was the most positive thing that all of the staff have voted on, and giving them maybe a little voucher to spend on a clothing store or a Starbucks voucher, etc. 60% of staff reported that they would like feedback on a weekly basis. So there you go. About 45% of respondents also value feedback from their peers and clients or customers. So this, again, shows do simple surveys with your clients. Get them to provide feedback on you, your staff, your products and treatments, or again, do these third-party audits that we do with members in our Medical Business Academy. So how do we create performing people? So my tips for you is create a culture that they love to surround themselves in. Customer service needs to be at the forefront of everyone's person's role in the clinic. If if there is one breakdown within those touch points within the client journey, you will either experience that the client won't go ahead with treatment, or it will create a bad experience and bad word of mouth, which we want to avoid. So everyone needs to understand all of those touch points in the customer service journey. And what you'll see shortly in our training program, and it's important that they go through all of the training, no matter what role they are playing within the practice, to understand and value everyone else's roles in the practice. Give them the right tools to aid them in the selling process. Give responsibilities, meaningful incentives. It doesn't always mean money. Actually, what I do and what we get other staff members to do is sit down with your staff once a year or once a month, understand what really makes them tick. What do they feel valued? It could be time off with family. So really understand that and maybe incentivize them based on that. Need a good recruitment and training program. Train your employees. Train, but do it in the right way. Do it in an effective way and make sure it's measurable as well. So I just wanted to quickly show you an insight into our training platform that our members get access to. So once we identify things through the audit and we put it through the calculator to find out where the opportunities of growth are, this is solutions. These are short videos we have created for every single part of the audit report. So all of your staff get uploaded onto the training platform themselves, and then you basically assign all of the training to your employees. So anytime an audit is done, it actually connects with all of the training. So that particular audit, you might be below the industry average for the consultation or the booking the consultation. So if that's the case, it will actually show up in your platform to say, this month we recommend that your staff do this training or go back and do the training. You'll see who's done the training in the practice. You'll see who's passed, who hasn't, and you'll be able to make those positive improvements. And as I said, with practices that have been on this now for almost coming on 2 years, constantly are seeing positive improvements. Now, we know that there's high staff turnover in the industry, so wouldn't it be great if you could actually put all of your employees, your new staff, on speed really, really quickly, even before they actually start at the practice with all these training. So what we've enabled as well is staff supplier training. So we've partnered with a number of different companies like Color Science, which are using our platform for training. So it will identify if you're a customer, and you can drag and drop their training into the same portal, and all the assessments and the training is done in the same way. A new feature we've actually given our Diamond members is they have the ability to actually upload all of their own training. So all of those folders and training manuals or staff handbooks that are gathering dust on your shelves in the practice, you can actually scan all of those. It doesn't have to be a video. It could be PowerPoint, PDFs, Word documents. You can scan all of those and upload them into your own portal. So everything's kept really tidy, organized within one portal, and you can go in as a practice manager, the business owner, and actually see who's done the training and where the improvements need to be made. Okay, so benefits to members on the Medical Business Academy, and if you're interested in becoming a member, Adrian and myself are really happy to answer sort of any questions and give you lots of testimonials and experiences from other practices. But the Medical Business Academy, as when we created it, is really for a way for you to identify what is actually going on in your practice. What is the current performance of your business right now? It's so important to understand that in order to make those positive changes and move the business forward and make it more profitable. Design the ultimate customer experience of your practice. We've done all the hard work. You know, we've traveled all around the world for 8 years and really pulled together some of the best of the best practices, looked at all of their staff, what they are doing differently to everyone else to make them very profitable. We actually even had consultants from the high-end catering, five-star hotels, spas. We brought in all of their experiences and put it in this. Again, it helps you monitor and reward your staff on a continual basis, measure their performance so you can reward accordingly. Enables you to identify how much revenue you're losing and opportunities for growth, which I showed you through the secret shopper reports and the business profit calculator. Ways to sort of instantly train new staff and set expectations. Again, we see practices a lot of the time with new staff, they get thrown in to the practice because everyone's so busy. No one has time to train the new staff. But this is a real great way for you to organize this better, put new staff onto the program and get them up to speed really, really quickly. Benchmark yourself. Again, all these benchmark capabilities that you can look at what other practices are doing locally and also overseas. And with our Diamond members, we actually have business mentors. So once a month, you would get access to a business mentor in different fields. So it could be finance, marketing, social media, practice management. And these are business mentors from all around the world. We've also got clinical, if you need help with certain new treatments, what you're putting together. There is also clinical mentors as well. And you would get access to one of those a month via a Skype or video chat and have access to that for around an hour. Again, you can visit the medicalbusinessacademy.com to view our different membership levels. Here are the two different levels here. So just to quickly give you an overview. So the bronze level is $95 a month. That's all it is, and what we give you access to is that whole training portal. It gives you access to the customer service training, the ability to actually upload your own training, and have access to supplier training as well. Adrian, she does a great job in giving you sort of weekly tips and tricks in our e-shots. And also we do a regular podcast with successful business owners from all around the world, which our members get access to. So it's so invaluable. These practices really reveal their secrets, which a lot of the time they won't tell their peers, but I do some fantastic interviews, and we've got already a number of. The Diamond member is really for those that really want access to the audits, the calculator, that also have more than one location. It's a fantastic program. Some of our clients have 20, 30, our biggest has got over 100 clinic locations that just have one platform that they can measure and monitor across all of those locations and really see how to grow the business. And most importantly, deliver that consistent culture and customer experience across the business. But if you're just a single individual, there is lots of great content in there for you to learn and develop as an individual. So that's it, and I'd love to, if you've got questions around the Medical Business Academy about customer service and experience, then please, drop your questions into the chat right now, which me and Adrian can actually come back to you on. If you want to email us direct, then we'll give you my contact details, which is Stephen with a PH at MyFaceMyBody.com. And again, those details will be. So as Jamie mentioned, what I wanted to give you a first glimpse, we haven't gone public with this. We're actually going live with this in a few days. This is so exciting. This is going to be the first ever global virtual, that's right, virtual aesthetic summit. So what we wanted to do with this was bring an international conference to you at home or in the practice. Now, we know the costs and time associated with you actually physically traveling to an international conference, and to bring your whole team to something like this is highly unrealistic. because you can't shut down your practice for that long and it's too expensive. So what we've done is we've created this virtual environment, again, which we're about to go live with. We have brands from all around the world, all the ones that you'll recognize, you know, the pharmaceutical companies, the laser companies, the skincare companies, and we will have around 150 leading practitioners, which again, you might be someone that we're looking for as well to speak at this really exciting summit. So let me just show you just inside the actual platform itself. So this is what you will see when you first come to the virtual platform. These little characters move around. So this is where you, just like the homepage on your website, this is where you will navigate to go into the exhibition halls, into the networking lounge, the resource center. There's the auditorium where there'll be 48 hours of continuous content. That's for us to really sort of cater for practices and individuals that are going to be attending this conference in over 30 countries around the world. So as you can see here, this is the virtual exhibition. So you can actually go and visit all of the companies that you know, actually speak via text, audio, or video chat with sales reps that will be there on the other end of the line. You can download brochures and see videos on each of the different booths. So it's really, really interactive. And because it's virtual, a lot of these companies are going to be putting together some amazing show deals just for this weekend. So if you are looking at picking up any new products or laser devices, will be the event for you to be able to do that. The networking lounge will enable you to engage and network with your peers. We'll have some business mentors in there as well that you can engage with. The resource center is where you can download different resources. There's a whole gamification to this as well. It's going to be extremely fun. So the more you engage with suppliers, talk to them, download different resources, come to the resource center, fill out surveys that companies have put on. You will gain points as you do this, and then this will turn into prizes that we'll be running throughout the show. And we've got some fantastic prizes. Some of the speakers are actually allowing you to actually shadow them in their practices. And these are some of the biggest names in the industry. Suppliers are giving away amazing prizes. But you'll also be able to redeem these points after the show to be able to redeem them on education resources that MyFaceMyBody offers. This is just to give you a little glimpse. So when you click on auditorium, looks like, and then these are some of the speakers that you'll recognize in different parts of the world. This is some of the clinical topics that we'll be going into, some of the sessions, and then the business program as well. So they are like webinar workshop sessions. They're going to be very interactive because a number of the sessions will be pre-recorded, but they'll have a live Q&A section to them. It really enables a lot of these clinics to be very interactive with their workshops, really sort of hands-on. But you're going to see speakers that you would never get access to from all around the world through this virtual summit. So extremely exciting. And as I say, we're making it very, very reasonable for anyone to attend from around the world. There'll be a general admission, there'll be a 1-day and a 2-day pass. But anyone that signs up to the Medical Business Academy, for both of our memberships, Bronze and Diamond, you'll get different access to the Global Virtual Aesthetic Summit. So if you guys do want to book in what passes and what access you'll get to speakers, exhibitors, prizes, etc. At the conference. And the conference will be happening on the 10th and 11th of November this year. So there's lots of time for you to attend, but you'll get some fantastic education. So that's it from me. As I say, if you've got any questions, I would love to answer them now. So yeah. So Jamie, I'm not too sure if you're still there, but
Yeah, Stephen, thank you. No, thank you for your presentation, Stephen, and thank you to all of our attendees who showed up today live to listen to the presentation. Stephen, we appreciate that you've given us a high-level taste of the customer service experience and the customer experience in general. And I hope you all can walk away with a few interesting ideas or thoughts on how you can just improve your customer experience in various areas of their experience with your practice. If anybody has questions for Stephen, you see his information there. You may also reach out to me directly at jamie@medresultsnetwork.com. As I mentioned before, there's great benefits through MBA and a number of, as many of you know. And I would encourage you all to take a look at GVAS, the Global Virtual Aesthetics Summit. We thought that tied in very well to today's presentation, as attendees of that event are going to be getting just as much education and times 100 when they attend that unique event. So thank you again to everyone, and we look forward to having you on our next educational webinar presentation. Thank you, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.